challenges, in our opinion, seem to have overwhelmed our security institutions.
The governors are supposed to be the state security officers of their state.
There is need for us to at least engage the traditional rulers.
We need to do something about our porous borders.
We have to own it from the unit level to the ward level to the local government to state.
Mr. President, the importance of today for us is for us to take action.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. For an act to authorize the issuance from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation.
Senate suspends plenary for budget defense even as 2022 Appropriation Act scales second reading.
This move will certainly make it possible for good politicians to come in.
And Senate amends Electoral Act to give room for direct party primaries as well as electronic transmission of election results. Welcome to the program Inside the Senate, where we bring you the high points of plenary as well as committee engagements as they concern senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. As it were, the 2022 Appropriation Act was presented for second reading last week, having been read first time on its presentation to a joint session of the National Assembly on the 7th of October 2021. Details from the budget debate in this episode of the program. Other reports in the program include the amendment of the already passed Electoral Act to give room for the inclusion of some sections that would ensure free, fair and credible elections in Nigeria. We also have a report from the Senate Committee on Ethics and Public Petitions as it considered the sack of a Deputy Registrar of a court over 52,000 Naira. Stay tuned for details of these and more after the break. I am Hussaina Amina Aboki. Welcome to Inside the Senate.
Senate to send a message to the President
to reap opportunities from that act.
To raise a matter of urgent public importance. And we are aware that when this particular motion comes up,
for a longer term development, arrive to second the motion.
Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Welcome back. With the presentation of the 2022 Appropriation Bill by President Muhammadu Buhari to a joint session of the National Assembly on Thursday, the 7th of October 2021, it was deemed to have scaled first reading. Following this, the bill was presented by the Senate leader for second reading on Tuesday, the 12th of October 2021. 2 days, Tuesday the 12th and Wednesday the 13th of October, were allotted for the debate. The Senate leader kick-started debates on the bill, giving the general principles, after which it was followed with comments by some senators.
We can see that the recurrent expenditure is still too high, contributing about not 43% as you have, it's about 67, I later calculated, it's about 67.36% of the total budget. It contains personnel costs and other matters that we all know. These are expenses that are running for, are necessary for the stabilizing government and the polity. It is important to note that operational expenditure and running costs on security, education and health are inside this one. But they themselves are investment in human capital, which is vital to the growth and development of the economy, any economy. So we should not take recurrent expenditure as just wastage of money.
Without developing ourselves infrastructurally, we cannot make the necessary revenue. I've heard a lot of my colleagues speaking on employment, speaking on this, our bad road, bad this, bad that. How will it be done? Mr. President, the only way to be done is to ensure that our infrastructures are in place. And that is why even the most virulent critic of this administration, we agree that yes, this administration is doing well on infrastructures.
After the budget was presented, quite a number of constituents were happy that attention is given to the security sector. This is because the economic growth and sustainability we emphasize can only be achieved in an atmosphere of peace, where there is guaranteed a safety of people and properties.
More senators commented the following day, Wednesday the 13th of October 2021.
If you look at the road, the railway network, the actual northwestern corridor has not been properly captured. And if you look at the northwestern corridor, you are talking about Sokoto, Kebbi, down to the northern part of Niger State. That area has not been properly captured, and there is need for us to take a look at that particular aspect.
The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria means well for our nation. But I think when we look at this budget of 2022, you still see that the recurring expenditure is greater than the capital expenditure. We have to take a look, have a very serious look at the recurring expenditures of each MDAs. One is that every year we have a ritual of buying computers, buying desks, buying barrels. These are all consumables that do not produce the necessary needed way we have for our people.
The budget is there. Implementation is another thing. And implementation, Mr. President, I want us to know that lots of things are involved. When corruption comes in, that's where the whole thing fails. When you get the right persons at the right place, then you are already a winner.
We are the highest country in Africa in terms of debt service and revenue ratio, and we really need to watch that. And again, we are going into another budget with a very high deficit financing. As we are borrowing these monies, which are meant to be used for capital development, for capital to develop for capital expenditure, it is important that we actually make proper allocations to the power sector and give ourselves a target at the end of this year to know what the outcomes will be in terms of the power sector.
When the question was put, senators gave their nod for it to be read the second time.
For an act to authorize the issuance from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation for the year ending on the 31st day of December 2022 and for other matters connected there to 2021, second reading taken.
Thereafter, the bill was referred to the Senate Committee on Appropriation for more legislative action to be put back in 4 weeks. As a result, plenary was suspended for 4 weeks from Wednesday the 13th of October to resume on Tuesday the 9th of November 2021. This is to enable committees who now become subcommittees under the Committee on Appropriation to host ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs, to defend their budget proposals for the year 2022. The Senate President in his remarks spoke on borrowing while also giving guidelines that committees should observe during the budget defense exercise that would follow the second reading of the Appropriation Act.
Borrowing, like most of us here said, is not bad. What we need to do is to ensure that what we borrow is prudently deployed in those areas of capital infrastructural developments. Like we did before, our committees, we must remain very critical of the proposals presented to us by the executive arm of government. We must ensure equity in the distribution of projects. We must ensure economy in the application of funds. We must question any possible overpricing of items. And we should be able to, at the end of the day, have a budget that covers the interest of all the communities that we have in this country and all parts of the country.
Earlier on, the issue of another amendment to some of the clauses of the recently passed Electoral Act engaged the attention of the Senate. The amendments were to further make way for free, fair and credible elections in Nigeria.
Some clauses of the Electoral Act number 6.
Presenting the bill for this amendment in the motion titled Recommittal of some clauses of the Electoral Act number 6, Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2021, Senate leader Senator Yahya Abdullahi said the amendment is aimed at addressing some critical issues in the electoral system.
After critical examination of the bill, some fundamental issues which require fresh legislative action on the following clauses 43, 52, 63 and 87 were observed. Desirous of the need to address the observations of the committee and make necessary amendments, and relying on Order 1B and Order 53-6 of the Senate Standing Order, this Senate resolves to rescind the decision on the affected clauses of the bill as passed and recommit same to the Committee of the Whole for further legislative action.
According to him, these amendments seek to make provision for direct primaries only for election of candidates of political parties instead of the direct and indirect primaries as contained in the Act earlier on passed. The amendment also sought to give the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, the powers to determine the mode of transmission of elections results, including electronic and manual transmission. Senators gave various opinions on this.
This move will certainly make it possible for good politicians to come in. People that have no money, as long as they are popular, they will come and they will get elected. And such people, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, will certainly do what the people want them to do. Unlike the situation we have now, that people of questionable character will be elected and they will not have the interest of the people at heart.
We are focusing on some aspects of this and leaving the most critical one. So I want to thank the leader for amending 43, because 43 now makes provision for acceptance of electronic voting machine and electronic or transfer of results, which means results being transferred either electronically or physically.
I stand to differ on the issue of the clause that we are reversing. I hold the view, Mr. President, that indirect primary is more applicable to our situation in our country. A good percentage of party members are still, majority are still literate, especially in the rural areas. And asking us to conduct, asking them to come and vote, will require a lot of enlightenment rather than having the indirect that would limit the numbers of those who can participate in primary elections.
I seek to disagree with the amendment of clause 87, which has to do with party primaries. We all agree that some of us have problems with our governors, but that should not tie the party to only one choice. We must give the party opportunity to practice democracy. Democracy is all about choices. If we tie the hands of the political parties to only direct primaries, it means we are not giving the parties the opportunity to practice democracy.
Even then, the amendments were eventually considered in the Committee of the Whole, leading to their passage. Same day also saw the Senate urging the Federal Ministry of Finance to approve adequate funding for FERMA to carry out repairs and rehabilitation of Nigerian roads. This resolution followed a motion under a matter of urgent public importance sponsored by Senator Geshambasi on the deplorable state of the Nigerian roads, which he said has become the sources of crime and accidents. He blamed the bad state of Nigerian roads on poor funding of the Federal Emergency Roads Maintenance Agency, FERMA, adding that a total sum of 215 billion naira is required per annum to revamp 3,500 kilometers of federal roads for a period of between 8 to 10 years for total rehabilitation to be achieved.
From 2016 to 2020, the actual funds released to FEMA by the federal government for road rehabilitation and maintenance was about 17% of the required sum. The poor funding and neglect of Nigerian roads has led to the abysmal state of our roads.
It's the same everywhere. From the north to south, it's the same. We have to call a spade by ensuring that government lives up to its expectations by funding FEMA. If we fund FEMA, it's not just constructing the roads, but maintenance of the road is more important than even the construction.
Federal roads are in bad shape because of the heavy rainfall we witnessed this year. And equally, our counterpart in the House of Representatives, they passed, the same thing. And we are requesting the Ministry of Finance to release additional funding to road maintenance, particularly for emergency works.
Accordingly, the Senate resolved to call on the federal government to declare a state of emergency on the deplorable state of Nigerian roads, urge the Federal Ministry of Finance to urgently release adequate funding for FEMA to intervene. On a sad note, the death of the paramount ruler of the Jukin Kingdom of Taraba State, Dr. Shekarau Angiu Masai Bikovio II, was announced on the floor of the Senate by the Deputy Minority Whip of the Senate, Senator Emmanuel Boacha. According to him, Dr. Shekarau died on Sunday, the 10th of October 2021. The Senate observed a minute's silence in honor of the late monarch.
May the gentle soul of Dr. Shekarau Akwaku rest in perfect peace. Amen.
Let's take a break to open the Senate notebook. Don't go away.
Budget defense exercise is a legislative process whereby heads of ministries, departments and agencies appear before legislative committees to justify annual allocations made to their establishments. It entails convincing lawmakers that the funds appropriated will be judiciously utilized. Where corruption, inefficiency and waste in the administration and utilization of appropriated funds are discovered, Section 88, subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution as amended empowers the National Assembly to expose such.
The only way out of the pandemic is for the population to observe the recommended measures advised by the NCDC. The Senate Committees on Health and Primary Health Care and Communicable Diseases will continue to engage with the Federal Ministry of Health and the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19.
Welcome back. The whereabouts of a bank draft in the sum of 52,414 Naira court deposit, over which a Deputy Chief Registrar of the Court of Appeal, Calabar Division, Mr. Andrew Shola Okoro, lost his job in 2005, was the subject of a proceeding of the Senate Committee on Ethics on Tuesday, the 12th of October 2021. Presenting his case before the committee, the petitioner, Mr. Okoro, disclosed that the amount which was in a bank draft in favor of the Deputy Chief Registrar and meant to be paid into a First Bank account was erroneously paid into a Union Bank account.
So I had to go with my accountant to Uyo. On getting there, they said that the sum itself was too small. 52,000 Naira, 414 Naira, 3 kobo. That the check that we had, the banker's draft, sir, there's a difference between a banker's draft. A banker's draft cannot be paid over the counter. It will only be lodged into your own particular account. On that particular premise, we came back. I met with my presiding justice and explained the whole situation to him. Told him that we cannot accept we pay this particular sum of money into our own account, get cash, and then open a savings account because of the amount was not what a current account would take.
He added that even after receiving a clean bill of health on his transfer from Calabar to Enugu Division in 2005, his attention was drawn in June 2010 to the fact that the bank draft has been untraceable all this while, leading to his sack by the authorities of the Court of Appeal and the Judicial Service Commission. As a result, he sought the committee's intervention for the conversion of the sack to retirement that would come with the payment of all his entitlements. This attracted a response from the Director of Administration, Court of Appeal, Abuja, who represented the registrar.
The bank draft was with him, so that's why the whole thing centered around him. And he claimed that he handed over before the check to the accountant, no documentary evidence to show. And again, the money was cleared according to the First Bank, 23rd May 2005, while he was posted out of Calabar to Enugu Division in June 2005. So when he wrote, he petitioned the Federal Judicial Service Commission after he was dismissed. A 3-man panel was set up to look into the matter, to give him the fair hearing he desired. But the panel said in their opinion, unless they discover the bank that cleared the check and the person that collected it, they cannot revisit his dismissal.
Committee members suggested a way out of the problem.
You requested that the Senate should look into the matter and urge the Federal Judicial Service Commission and the Court of Appeal to commute your dismissal to voluntary requirement and pay all your salaries and allowances. Why do you want to take that decision? If you are really sure, I would have thought that you will request that they will call you back and not to commute your dismissal to a voluntary requirement. Why should you be dismissed?
Since the check went through from first from Union Bank, First Bank, and then CBN. I want to believe that there are traces. It is possible to trace who actually got this money. And therefore, the shortcut to this matter is to invite CBN, invite First Bank, and of course, the Federal Judicial Service Commission must also be invited. And then give them time to go through this particular case. And then they report back.
These submissions were underscored by the committee chairman, Senator Ayo Akinyelure, who gave the final words on the matter.
First Bank Calabar will have to go back to their records because you have First Bank check issue. Bank check issue is a certified check. It's as good as cash, but you cannot cash it over the counter. If this check has been lodged into any other account and that person was able to make away with the money, then that bank is negligent. So we are interested to know the account for which that particular check was lodged. If we were to clearing, Union Bank too, they are also involved, Abi. They are involved. We are also inviting the present manager of UBN, Union Bank of Nigeria PLC, and then CBN.
The decision was accordingly adopted, following which the committee resolved to host all concerned on the matter at a later date. Our profile segment is next. Stand by for our Senator of the Week.
Senator Bello Mandia was born in Malumfashi, Katsina State, where he also attended primary school for his first school leaving certificate. For secondary education, he attended Government Secondary School Usasa Zaria in Kaduna State. From there, he proceeded to the University of Lagos in Lagos State, where he earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Mass Communication, as well as Lagos State University for a Master of Science degree in International Relations and Strategic Studies. Senator Bello Mandia had served as Senior Legislative Aide to Right Honorable Aminu Bello Masari when he was Speaker of the House of Representatives from 2003 to 2007. He was also an international observer in the Carter Center Observatory mission to the Ghana presidential election in 2008. He was Chief of Staff to the Katsina State government from 2015 to 2019. He contested election to the Senate in the 2019 general elections under APC and won to represent Katsina South Senatorial District of Katsina State. He is the Chairman, Senate Committee on Water Resources, as well as a member of several other committees. His legislative interests include youth empowerment, skills acquisition, and industrialization.
This is where we end this week's edition of Inside the Senate. Do join us again for another edition. You can also catch up on past editions on our YouTube channel alongside other social media handles. Thanks for watching.